I'm Blake.
And I'm PJ.
And this is the Church Podcast, Episode 6, You Must Lead or Leave. So in this episode, we are going to be breaking down reason number 3 of our 5 reasons you should run from your pastor. We covered all 5 reasons in Episode 3, so if you haven't listened to that yet, go give it a listen so you'll know what we're talking about. But right now, we're going to break down the 3rd reason of why you should run from your pastor, which is you must lead or leave. When I first came to the church, I was really into like the party scene at the college that I was going to when I'd been single for a long time, and I was just looking to reconnect with God. I met some really awesome girls, and they made me feel right at home, feel super like loved and comfortable, like opening up to them about things I was struggling with, and I felt like they were just my true friends. And that was great. But then after a couple of months of being there, after I went to a Freedom Weekend event or an encounter or whatever they were called then, after the people in leadership there felt like I got healed from my past wounds and was ready to move on, they wanted me to become a leader. So that meant leading a small group, starting to lead one of the departments within the church. I was like, okay, awesome. Sounds good to me. I love telling people what to do. And so eventually, the person who was the head of the media department ended up leaving, so I ended up becoming the head of that department. That's when things got really tough, I guess, because the buck stopped with me. That's also when I felt like I wasn't allowed to be emotional anymore. What this meant for me was kind of how I shared in the previous episode about that story where I got yelled at in front of everyone. If I didn't just stand there and take it, if I got emotional and said something back, I would have got told to leave. Leave the church, but leave that Sunday because I couldn't handle my emotions or take care of myself.
Right.
There was one Sunday in particular. It was a very high stress Sunday because it was the last Sunday of the year, and that evening we were having our very first praise party. We were getting everybody together and celebrating the new year, and everyone was going to give a big end of the year offering to the church, and they were trying
the extravagant offering, because this one is your first seeds of the year and you sow it, and
right.
And if you give really good, then God's gonna be really good back to you.
So it was a first fruits offering.
If you don't give God the best first fruits offering you've ever given, then the rest of your year is gonna be shit, brother.
Pretty much. So it was kind of like we're all going to give together at midnight. So the very first thing we're going to do with this year is give to God, and he's going to give us so much or whatever, however it ended up being, which ended up being the year that we left. So, hey, maybe it was good for us. But
or maybe we didn't give enough.
Anyway, so it was that Sunday. So we had a Sunday morning service, and then gonna go home and eat, maybe take a nap. Everyone's gonna come back to the church maybe 7 or 8 p.m. and start setting up for the night. So what that meant for my team was around quadruple the amount of work that we would normally put in on a Sunday. We had to put on this Sunday. Since we had so much more work to do that particular Sunday, I was staying up late. My team was staying up late. I was tired. I was exhausted, pretty much. It was the end of the year. We had also gone through Christmas right before, so there was so much that we were doing the last 2 weeks of the year. So on this Sunday, we go through Sunday morning rehearsal, and I don't even remember what it was, but something in the sound wasn't quite right. So the pastor pulls myself, this other member of my team and some of the leaders on the worship team together and says, hey guys, what do you think about this video? Which basically means, I think this video sucks. Can anybody validate me? Because at first, people say, oh, I liked this about the video. I thought it was funny. Blake and the other person who are on the video came across really well. But if they start saying things like that, then she just said, no, that's not what I'm looking for. No, did anybody notice what was wrong with the video? By that point in the year, people had realized if you say something nice about the video that she's asking about, or the song, or the graphic, or whatever she's asking, if she's getting a group of people together to ask what they think about it, it's typically because she thinks that it sucks, and she's looking for us to validate her opinion. So if people say nice things, they get shut down right away. So nobody said anything right out. And so she said, did anybody notice the sound? I thought you guys did a rehearsal on Thursday. Wouldn't you guys have caught this? How come it's not right? PJ, how come you can't fix this with your little knobs in the booth? Blake, how come you couldn't fix this when you were editing? Like, did nobody catch this? Am I the only one with good ears? So then everybody chimes in about, yeah, how much it sucks. And okay, should we play it still or should we cut it? Because the sound sucks so much that maybe we should just cut it. So I honestly don't remember what the final decision ended up being on whether we played that video or not, but I was pissed. My main focus for those past couple weeks was honestly the praise party videos, because they were like so fun to make. I thought they were so cool, and they were all like gold, like black and gold and glittery, and they were just something that we hadn't gotten to do before. But I also knew that the media for that event was honestly more important, because we were asking people to give like a ton of money. And so I thought that all the media that was like playing at that needed to be like the best it could possibly be. And not that the Sunday videos didn't need to be good, but if it was between the two, the Sunday videos were going to be how they always are, and the exceptional thing was going to be later that night. I was holding back tears. I'm not an extremely emotional person, I would say, but when things piss me off, I cry. Like I cry, I'm a mad crier. If I'm mad, I cry. So she could tell something was wrong, obviously. So she pulls me aside afterwards and says, hey, I'm so sorry that I had to do that in front of everyone, but I need to reinforce the culture of excellence on this team. And so if things aren't excellent, I need other people to notice it besides me. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, honestly, I don't give a shit right now. She asked to talk to me outside, pulls one of my friends to talk with me too, and says, okay, you can't handle your emotions right now, so you need to go home. You can't lead the sound booth effectively right now or do anything. You need to go home and take a nap. Like a kid. And I was like, okay. At that point, I was like, whatever. I don't really want to be around you right now. So sure, I'll go home and take a nap. Fine. The only reason it got to that point was because I was so exhausted and then got yelled at in front of everyone again, and then told to leave because I couldn't lead my emotions so well. When I felt like she couldn't lead her emotions at all, to the point where she just exploded them on everyone. So for me, that was one instance where I couldn't lead, so I had to literally leave. And there was one of my other friends who got told multiple Sundays where she was supposed to be on stage or leading some teams outside. Pretty much, I would say at least one Sunday a month, she would get told to go home and take a nap because she couldn't lead herself well enough. When in fact, she was just pushed to her breaking point way too many times. You know, I mean, everybody's responsible for their own stuff, but at the same time, she definitely felt like it wasn't an option to have a break throughout the week. So she ended up having to take her breaks every single Sunday.
When I first started going to this church, it was because my brother invited me. He was highly involved. He used his truck to transport equipment. He used his truck to transport people. He was in charge of the sound. He led a small group. He was in a small group. He did all kinds of stuff. I would say he just got tired of it. Keep in mind, you and me and him and many other people volunteered.
Yeah.
We didn't get paid, but we were expected to produce top of the line, fucking state of the art results, you know? And he just was over it. Mm-hmm. And I was pretty much made to feel like something was wrong with him and that I needed to talk to him and make sure that everything was going okay. Mm-hmm. And it's funny looking back because in a nutshell, he was like, I'm fine. I just don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so simple.
Right.
So obvious, you know, and here I'm in this brainwashed state, basically, feeling like if you're not leading, you might not even be saved. We're not sure.
Right.
If you don't have a passion for God's people and for the church, then maybe you don't have the Holy Spirit, you know, and that is just such bullshit and so manipulative. Here he is like a great father and teaches his kids about God, prays with them, and it's nobody's business to critique his spirituality based on what he's doing for your fucking little church.
Right.
And so I would say in that situation, if he wasn't such a great supporter financially, they would have had big problems with him.
Yeah.
Because other people that weren't, and they also didn't want to lead, they didn't get as much grace. You know, you don't want to push your payday too hard. They might stop.
Yeah. So this has been episode 6, breaking down the third reason why you should run from your pastor. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you didn't like it, make sure to give it a thumbs down and let us know what you think in the comments. And follow us on all the social media in the description below.
Yeah.